Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Rejection is about them, not you. It never was, it never will be. But when it happens, it doesn't feel that way, does it? It feels personal. It feels like a wound that cuts deep into your confidence, making you question everything about yourself. But here's what most people don't realize. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their fears, their insecurities, and their emotional unavailability. People will reject what they don't understand. They push away what they're not ready for. Sometimes they walk away because they believe the grass is greener elsewhere, only to realize later that they left behind something priceless. And by the time they figured out, you've already healed. You've already found your strength. And that's exactly when they come back. Chasing, you've stopped proving, and that's when they feel it the most. The absence of your energy is louder than your presence ever was. They want control back. Let's be real. Some people don't return out of love. They return out of ego. It's not about you. It's about them needing to know they can still have access to you. They want to see if you still respond, if you still care, if they can still pull you back in with just a few words. And if you're not careful, you might fall for it. But pay attention to this. Real love doesn't play games. Real love doesn't leave and come back when it's convenient. So when someone returns, ask yourself, are they here for you, or are they here to feed their own pride? Your glow up triggers regret. Nothing shakes a person more than seeing you happy without them, seeing you smile, seeing you succeed, seeing you live a life that no longer revolves around their presence. That's when regret hits the hardest, when they realize you never needed them to become the person you are today. And let's be honest, people don't chase what's easy, they chase what they think they can lose forever. The moment they see you moving on, glowing up, leveling up in ways they never expected, their mind goes into panic mode. They start wondering, what if they made a mistake? What if someone else sees what they were too blind to appreciate? What if they've lost you for good? And that's when they come running. Not because they've changed, but because they're afraid of watching someone else love you the way they should have. But not everyone who returns has changed. And this is the most important part. Just because someone comes back doesn't mean they're different. Doesn't mean they've grown. It only means they've realized what they lost. But realization is not transformation. Someone who once took you for granted doesn't automatically deserve a second chance just because they now see your worth. So before you let them back in, ask yourself, are they coming back to add value to your life, or are they coming back to take from it again? Are they returning because they've truly changed, or because they just don't want to see you happy without them? And here's the truth. If someone truly valued you, they wouldn't have needed to lose you to realize it. Real love recognizes value in the moment, not in hindsight. You are the prize, not them, not their validation, not their approval, you. The moment you stop questioning your worth, you stop giving people permission to treat you like an option. The most powerful thing you can do is recognize that their return does not define you. Your decision to either walk away or accept them back does. Because the right people, they don't make you beg, they don't make you wait. They don't leave you questioning your worth. And when you finally understand that, you'll never settle for anything less again. They miss the energy you brought, not just your presence, not just your words, but the way you made them feel alive, the way you lit up the room without even trying, the way your laughter filled the silence, your kindness softened the rough edges of their world, your love made them feel like they belonged. That's what they're really missing. And here's the truth. People don't always appreciate what they have when it's right in front of them. They only realize its worth when it's no longer there. At first, they don't notice it. They convince themselves that walking away was the right choice. They distract themselves, keeping busy, filling their time with new people, new experiences, but slowly, something starts to feel off. The conversations they have with others don't carry the same depth. The moments don't feel as fulfilling. They don't laugh as hard. They don't feel as safe. They don't feel as seen, and that's when it hits them. The emptiness. The void that only your energy could fill. They start reminiscing about the little things, the way you remembered the details about their day, the way you lifted them up when they doubted themselves, the way your presence made them feel at home no matter where they were, and now they feel lost without it. That's when the regret begins to creep in. They begin to wonder, was walking away a mistake? Did they lose something rare, something real? And that's when they come back. But here's what they don't realize. You're not the same person they left. You've grown. You've healed. You've learned that your energy was never meant to be wasted on someone who didn't cherish it when they had the chance. You're no longer available to be their safe space when it's convenient for them. And that's what makes them want you even more. Because nothing is more attractive than someone who is whole. Someone who doesn't need anyone but chooses carefully who gets access to them. People don't chase what's easily available. They chase what feels rare, what feels unattainable. And the moment you stopped chasing, the moment you stopped waiting for them to realize your worth, was the moment they began to feel your absence like a weight they couldn't shake. It's human nature. We don't value what comes easy. We value what we believe we could lose forever. And that's exactly why they come back. They want to know if they still have a place in your life, if they still hold the same importance, if they still have access to the love and energy they once took for granted. But not all who return deserve a second chance. Not all who regret losing you are ready to love you the way you deserve. Because missing you and being worthy of you are two very different things. Some people come back not because they've changed, but because they see you thriving without them. And that stings. They thought you would crumble. They thought you would wait. But instead you chose yourself. You chose to grow, to become even stronger, even more magnetic. And now they feel the loss in a way they never expected. Regret is powerful, but it's not love. Just because someone regrets leaving doesn't mean they are capable of giving you what you deserve. And just because they miss you doesn't mean they're ready to treat you right. Some people only come back to soothe their ego, to see if they still have power over you. They want to know if you're still waiting, still hoping, still willing to give them another chance. But you are not the same person anymore. You've learned that your love is a privilege, not a guarantee. You are not abandoned. You are set free. Free to find someone who doesn't need to lose you to recognize your worth. Free to live a life where you are fully valued, fully appreciated, fully chosen. And if someone couldn't see that the first time, that's their burden to carry, not yours. They want control back. That's why they come knocking at your door again, not because they suddenly realize your worth, not because they've changed, but because they can feel that their grip on you is slipping away, and that terrifies them. It's not love that pulls them back, it's fear. Fear of losing the power they once had over you. Fear of watching you move forward without looking back. Fear of seeing you become someone they can no longer manipulate. People don't always come back because they miss you. They come back because they miss how you made them feel. They miss the attention, the reassurance, the comfort of knowing they had a place in your heart. They miss the security of knowing you were always there, always waiting, always available. But the moment they sense that you are no longer dependent on them, that's when panic sets in. That's when they realize they are losing their control. They test the waters, a simple message, a sudden apology, a call out of the blue. They act like they're just checking in as if they genuinely care. But what they're really doing is seeing if they still have access to you. They want to know if you'll respond, if you'll engage, if you'll fall right back into their hands. It's not about fixing what they broke. It's about seeing if they still have the power to make you stay. And here's the hard truth. Some people don't come back because they love you. They come back because they don't want to see you love someone else. It's not about building something better. It's about making sure you don't give what you gave them to another person. Their ego can't handle the thought of you moving on. They don't want you, but they don't want to lose you either. They want to keep you close enough to feel wanted, but not close enough to fully commit. They remember how much you cared. They remember how deeply you loved. They remember how much effort you put in, how much you forgave, how much you stayed, even when they didn't deserve it. And that's exactly why they assume they can walk back in, because they know the kind of heart you have, they know the kind of loyalty you give, and they are hoping, praying that you haven't changed. But you have changed. You are no longer the person who tolerated empty promises, mixed signals, and one-sided love. You have learned that love should never feel like a game where one person is always chasing and the other is always running. You have grown into someone who understands that real love does not leave and come back when it's convenient. So now they're scrambling. They can sense the shift in your energy. They can feel that you are no longer as accessible as you once were. They notice that you don't respond the same way, that you don't give them the same emotional reactions, and that drives them crazy because what they feared the most is happening. You are reclaiming your power. They will try harder. They will say all the right things, make all the right promises. They will tell you they've changed, that they see things differently now, that they finally understand what they lost. But words mean nothing without action. Regret is not the same as transformation. Missing you is not the same as being worthy of you. And this time you see it clearly. This time you understand that their return is not a sign of love. It's a test of whether you will fall for the same cycle again or whether you will finally choose yourself. They rejected you once because they thought they had options. They come back because they realized those options could never replace you. But it's too late, because the person they thought they could control is no longer waiting, no longer hoping, no longer available to be treated like a second choice. They come back to reclaim control, but this time the power is in your hands, and that is something they never expected. Your glow up triggers regret, not just a little regret. Deep, aching, gut-wrenching regret, the kind that keeps them up at night, replaying every moment they let you down, every time they underestimated you. They see you now, standing in your power, looking better, feeling stronger, radiating confidence in a way they never expected, and it eats them alive. They thought you would break. They thought you would wait. They thought losing them would leave you shattered, questioning your worth, begging for another chance. But instead, you became someone they barely recognize, someone unshaken, untouchable, unfazed by their absence. And that's what gets to them the most, because they wanted to believe you needed them, that without their validation, you would remain stuck in the pain they caused. But you didn't. You transformed. Now, everywhere they turn, reminders of you hit them like a storm. Maybe they see your pictures, and the glow in your eyes tells them everything they need to know. You're happier without them. Maybe mutual friends mention your name, and instead of hearing about your heartbreak, they hear about your success, your growth, your undeniable transformation, and it burns because now they realize that what they lost wasn't just a person. It was a light, an energy, an experience they will never find again. They watch from the shadows, trying to understand how you managed to become this version of yourself. The version that no longer seeks closure, the version that no longer waits for explanations, the version that no longer sees their absence as a loss. It terrifies them because for the first time they see the truth. You were the prize, and they were the ones who let go of something rare. Regret is a powerful thing. It doesn't just remind them of what they had, it forces them to see what they can never have again. They want to reach out, to say something, to find a way back in, but they hesitate because deep down, they know they don't deserve the person you've become. They know that whatever illusion of control they once had is gone. They know that if they come back, they will have to face the painful reality that you are no longer that person, the one who would have done anything for their love. And that's when they start making excuses. I wasn't ready. I was confused. I needed time to figure myself out. But none of it matters anymore. Because while they were figuring themselves out, you were evolving into someone they can't reach. Someone who doesn't need to hear their explanations. Someone who has learned that real love never needs time after losing you to realize your worth. The truth is, they expected you to stay the same, to remain stuck in the past, carrying the weight of their rejection. But instead, you turn that pain into something unstoppable. You built yourself into someone who no longer settles, who no longer waits for someone to recognize your value. And that's what haunts them. Not just that they lost you, but that they lost access to the person they never truly appreciated in the first place. They come back because your glow up forces them to confront what they chose to walk away from. They see now that the person they thought they could replace was irreplaceable. That the love they once took for granted was the kind of love people spend a lifetime searching for, and yet you no longer look at them the way you used to. You no longer respond with the same eagerness, the same hope, the same belief that they were the best thing that ever happened to you. And that's when the regret cuts the deepest. Because they don't just miss you, they miss the version of you who still believed in them. The version who would have given them another chance. But that version no longer exists, and now they have to live with the fact that they lost you forever. Not everyone who returns has changed. Some people don't come back because they've grown, learned their lesson, or finally understand your worth. They come back because life humbled them, because they realized the grass wasn't greener on the other side, because they thought they could replace you, and when they couldn't, regret hit them like a tidal wave. But here's the truth. Regret is not the same as transformation. Just because they miss you doesn't mean they're ready to value you. Just because they say they've changed doesn't mean they actually have. People will say all the right things when they feel they're losing access to you. They will tell you what you've always wanted to hear, not because they mean it, but because they hope it's enough to get back into your life. They remember your kindness. They remember your patience. They remember how you forgave them time and time again, and they assume you'll do it again. They assume they can walk back into your life with a few sweet words and everything will be as it was before. But what they don't realize is that you are not the same person who once waited for them to choose you. You are not the same person who once settled for half-hearted love. They want to believe they still have a place in your heart. They want to believe they still have power over you. But what they don't understand is that absence changes things. Distance doesn't always make the heart grow fonder. Sometimes it makes the heart wiser. And now you see them for who they truly are, not who you once hoped they would become. It's easy to mistake the return for love. It's easy to believe that the regret means they are finally ready to do better. But watch their actions, not their words. Anyone can say they've changed. Anyone can say they've realized your worth. But real change is proven over time, not in desperate attempts to win you back. If they truly changed, they wouldn't just return with empty words. They wouldn't just reappear when it's convenient for them. They would have done the work, taken responsibility, and respected your healing process. But most people don't do that. They come back hoping to slip into your life as if nothing happened, hoping that nostalgia will make you forget the pain they caused. But you haven't forgotten. You remember how it felt to question your worth. You remember how they made you feel invisible, like you were always the one trying, always the one giving, always the one hoping they would finally love you the way you deserved. And now that you've built yourself back up, they want to come back. Now that you've healed, they suddenly miss you. Be careful with those who only want you when they feel they've lost you. Be careful with those who only show up when they see you moving on. Because real love doesn't work like that. Real love doesn't let you go in the first place. Real love doesn't come back only when it's convenient. And here's the most painful truth. You deserve more than someone who had to lose you to realize your worth. You deserve more than someone who only comes back when they see you thriving without them. You deserve more than someone who needed time away from you to appreciate what they had. Not everyone who returns has changed. Some just don't like losing. Some just don't want to see you happy without them. Some just want to know they still have control. And the moment they feel secure again, the cycle repeats. They leave. They take you for granted. They assume You'll always be there, but this time you know better. This time you see through their words. This time you don't fall for temporary regret disguised as real love. This time you choose yourself. And that's a choice they never expected you to make. You are the prize, not an option, not a second choice, not something to be taken for granted. But the moment you start believing it, everything changes. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, it all shifts. And when people see that shift, when they realize you're no longer the person who once begged for love, that's when they start to panic. That's when they start to come back. They return not because they've suddenly become better people, not because they've had some grand awakening about your worth, but because they feel your energy pulling away. They feel the power you once gave to them now being redirected back to yourself. And nothing terrifies them more than knowing that the person who once gave them everything is now giving it all to themselves. They underestimated you. They thought you would always be there, always waiting, always willing to accept less than you deserved. They thought they had time. But now they see you shining, growing, elevating in ways they never expected, and it shakes them to their core because now they realize you were never the one who needed them. It was always the other way around. Regret creeps in like a shadow, following them everywhere. They see you living, thriving, moving forward without them, and it stings. It stings because they thought walking away would make you crumble. They thought their absence would leave you desperate. But instead, it did the opposite. It made you stronger. It made you wiser. It made you recognize that you were the prize all along. And now they want back in. They come with apologies, with sweet words, with promises of change. But the real question is, do they deserve another chance? Do they deserve to stand next to the person you've become? Because not everyone who misses you deserves a second chance. Not everyone who regrets losing you deserves access to your life again. People often realize the value of something after they lose it. But the real ones, the ones who are truly meant to be in your life, they never put you in a position to question your worth in the first place. They never take you for granted. They never leave and expect to come back whenever it suits them. You have to start seeing yourself the way they now see you. Rare, irreplaceable, and powerful. You were never just someone they could walk away from and forget. You were never just another chapter in their story. You were the story. And now they're realizing that the best part of their life walked away, but here's what they didn't expect. You're not looking back. You're not waiting for them to catch up. You're not hoping they finally recognize your worth, because you've already recognized it for yourself. And once you do that, once you truly understand that you are the prize, you stop entertaining those who treated you like you weren't. They will try to remind you of the good times. They will try to convince you that what you had was special. But what they won't mention is the times they made you doubt yourself, the times they left you feeling unworthy, the times they made you question whether you were enough, because they know that if you remember those moments, you'll never let them back in. And that's the difference between who you were then and who you are now. Before, you needed their validation. Before, you wanted them to choose you. Before, you believed their love determined your value. But not anymore. Now you know better. Now you feel different. Now you walk into every room knowing that anyone who fails to recognize your worth is simply not meant to be in your life. When you know you are the prize, everything shifts. You stop chasing. You stop settling, you stop accepting love that feels uncertain, you start moving with a confidence that others can feel, and the ones who once took you for granted, they feel it the most. They will try to come back, hoping to find the old version of you, the one who would have welcomed them with open arms. But that version is gone. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer proving your worth to anyone who couldn't see it the first time. Because now, you know, when you are the prize, it's not about who chooses you, it's about who you choose. And once you start choosing yourself, you'll realize that you were never losing them, they were losing you.